You might have had people talk about the BRICS currency. In this video, we speak about the de-dollarization of the international system, and we'll also cover discussions around the potential development of a BRICS currency. If you want to know more about BRICS, its establishment, the new development bank, then check out the previous video on my social media platforms. In the international community, commodities such as gold, oil, metal, coffee, and many others are priced in US dollars. And when countries want to trade, they pay in US dollars, which works through the American correspondence banks. What it means is that if South Africa has to buy goods from Zimbabwe, Botswana, Swaziland, depending on the magnitude of the trade, the exchange will have to happen in US dollars. In 2019, it is recorded that about 88% of trade deals in the international market were actually done using the US dollar. In the language of Yasema Daisini, the US dollar is Unox man who keeps on being the next man even if he's not on the gambling table.
What do you gain from that?
That over-circulation of the US dollar is good for the American economy, but for other countries, it comes at a great risk of being sanctioned by the US. It means that if a country is sanctioned by the US, they are no longer allowed to trade in US dollars, which makes it a very difficult position for any other country to be in that is not allowed to trade in the US dollar. Let us break down how the US dollar became the most powerful and controlling trade currency among the countries. After the Second World War, the US had the biggest economy, and other countries that had been part of the war were trying to rebuild their economies. So in simple terms, the US dollar was seen to be the credible currency to do business. It was the most stable currency of the time. In 1944, 44 countries came together in what is known as the Bretton Woods Conference, where countries agreed to peg their local currencies against the US dollar. The dollar itself was pegged against gold. This means that countries were able to establish value of their local currencies relative to the US dollar. This also meant that trade among countries, even if it doesn't involve the US, the transaction will have to be done using the US dollar.
I made the things that it cannot make that possible be done.
Here's the trick. So because every country is using the US dollar for trade, the transaction has to involve the correspondence bank in the US, which means that all trade deals using the US dollar gives the US jurisdiction to compel countries to abide by its laws of money laundering and corruption. This then means that when a country is sanctioned by the US, no trade can happen without the use of the US dollar. Now let's look at how BRICS becomes an alternative in this case. From the 2023 BRICS summit that was held in South Africa, countries have expressed discontent with how the use of the US dollar as the means of trade is dominating the world economy. Therefore, countries have begun to look for alternatives. BRICS currency is not something that is happening now, but it is an ongoing discussion to try to navigate the complexities associated with using the US dollar. Once the BRICS currency is in place, it means that instead of trading through the US dollar, countries will be able to simply trade using the BRICS currency through the BRICS bank as the correspondence bank. Since the BRICS currency is a potential future project, the current discussion is on increasing the focus on using local currencies for trade. At present, BRICS countries are using between 30 to 35% of their trade using the local currencies, and the plan is to increase that percentage. In the African context, this is similar to the idea of a unified African currency, which means that trade deals within the African continent will be done using the African currency. The idea of a unified currency is not something new. The euro itself is a unified currency for European countries. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on unified currencies. Do you think that unified currencies are a way of the future? Do you think a unified African currency will be essential for the African continent? The same applies with the BRICS. Add your opinion in the comment section. In the next video, we speak about Vladimir Putin and why he couldn't attend the BRICS summit that was held in South Africa in person. To be part of the community, follow, comment, subscribe, and if you have any topics you'd like for us to break down, feel free to add those in the comment section.